Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. It's a pleasure to rise in the House today and talk about the changes that have been made to Canada's natural health product regime by the Liberals with the support of the NDP and the Greens in Budget Implementation Act Bill C-47. So for the Canadians watching at home, what is C-47 and what happened? Well, last year at about this time, Bill C-47 was passed in the House of Commons. This is a Budget Implementation Act. It's supposed to actually only change the law insofar as what the budget policy of the day was talking about. However, somebody snuck a few clauses in that particular bill that actually changed the definition of natural health products to be the same as therapeutic products, like drugs that you would get a prescription for that have a drug identification number. So that's the problem, and the underlying problem with all of that for the folks that are watching along at home is that the industry wasn't consulted at all about these particular changes. As a matter of fact, I don't remember a single MP debating that during the Budget Implementation Act debates. I don't remember it coming up at committee. Nobody from the industry was called to the committee to testify about these particular issues. And it was only several months after the bill had actually passed that I think people began to wake up and realize that Health Canada was proceeding with their self-care framework because they had these newfound powers under Bill C-47. So that basically goes back to Health Canada now trying to get care and control of therapeutic or natural health products to the same effect that they have with therapeutics. But if you go back to 1998, the Health Committee here in the in the House of Commons, the Health Committee actually issued a report with 53 recommendations. This is the 98 report of 53 recs. It basically said that in no uncertain terms that natural health products are not therapeutic drugs. I'll remind everybody in this House that that happened under a majority Chrétien government, so there would have been a majority of Liberals on that committee at that time. That's the conclusion that they drew, and that was the template going forward. Fast forward to 2014. When Vanessa's Law was passed, there was a lot of debate and discussion at that particular point in time, and again it was reaffirmed that natural health products are not therapeutic products and are exempted from Vanessa's Law. Then you fast forward to 2021 and the Auditor General's report came out. The Auditor General was very critical of Health Canada's ability to properly manage certain aspects of the natural health product regime, particularly when it came to looking at post-market monitoring and doing tests on samples of the products that were on the shelves and so on. But most importantly in that report, the Auditor General took the strange step of actually going and taking 75 products. Now, these weren't random products off the shelf in Canada. These were 75 products that were deemed problematic from the beginning, and they used that, which gives a false narrative that somehow natural health products in Canada are unsafe. I can assure you that that is simply not true, but Health Canada nonetheless is using this information to claim that they need the powers under Vanessa's Law. And what would entail there? Well, what would entail there is Health Canada would now have a self-funding methodology so they can apply massive amounts of licensing fees and product registration fees onto a very small industry when you compare it to the size of the pharmaceutical industry, and it was going to likely cause, according to everybody that you talk to in the industry, it's likely going to cause massive loss of products and a lot of chaos. So that's the primary impact for the Canadians that are watching at home is cost. So if you don't already know, you should know that Canada is already the most regulated natural health product industry in the world. As a matter of fact, Canada's brand on natural health products is better than the United States, better than Mexico, better than virtually anywhere in the world. And our products, our manufacturers and our exporters actually have already in place prior to Bill C-47 the best regulatory reputation that's out there. So we are a growing industry in this country. The industry is growing so fast, and it's growing in leaps and bounds because of that proper regulation that existed prior to C-47. And like I said, whether it's our producers, our manufacturers, our distributors, but under the new self-care framework, Health Canada started out with these new site licenses. Now, you might not know this, but if you're a manufacturer or if you're a packager or if you're a distributor, you have to have something called a site license from Health Canada. You can't do this without a site license. That site license was free up until Bill C-47, and now with the new proposed regulations coming into force, the initial site license fee was going to be $40,000 per year. I think they've negotiated down with the industry to $20,000 a year. But just imagine if you're a traditional Chinese medicine establishment, or if you're doing the Ayurvedic medicine, or if you're doing homeopathy, if you have to get a site license fee of $20,000 every year, that's almost, well, everybody basically in those three parts of the natural health product industry have already said that's going to shut them down. So this is a very onerous fee. And then there would be a new product fee. So any new natural health product that you wanted to bring to the market would be upwards of $4,000 to get your natural product number. You know, if you buy your vitamin C, you go to the store, there's a little NPN down there. There's about 50,000 natural products registered in Canada right now. But if you're going to bring a new product to the market, that'll cost you an additional $4,000 per product. So in that particular year, if you're got a site license and a new product, you're looking at $24,000 before you even get anything coming in for revenues. So if you're practicing traditional Chinese medicine and somebody needs a new remedy, then you need to import some of the ingredients from China or someplace else in the world, you're going to bring those products in, you're going to be paying thousands of dollars to get that product registered in Canada, and you might only be in the market to sell 10 bottles to a client that's got a need for a very specific thing. This is going to basically kill traditional Chinese medicine practitioners in Canada. And of course, the right to sell license that Health Canada is bringing in for each product will be several $100s per bottle, over $300 per product. So now you're dealing with thousands and thousands of dollars every year for this industry. It's going to kill innovation, it's going to stifle growth, and it's going to basically drive that innovation and product development out of Canada. So what's the impact? Well, the industry experts are saying that up to 70% of products that are currently on our shelves in Canada with a natural product number on them, this is very important that they have that natural product number, they will be likely disappearing in the years to come when Health Canada implements this self-care framework. 3 out of 5 manufacturers, retailers, practitioners, and distributors say that they will actually have to close up their doors. So we're basically losing approximately 60% of the industry if Health Canada goes ahead with implementing this cost recovery fee program for the natural product industry. And the job losses are direct and indirect. Right now, you may be interested to know that about 54,000 people in Canada are directly employed in the natural health product industry, and they figure about 66% of those jobs will be affected or negatively impact once the self-care framework is brought in. And you would think that this Prime Minister, being the self-professed feminist that he is, would have actually done a gender analysis on the impact of Bill C-47 when it comes to natural health products, but there was no gender-based analysis. And you might be surprised to know that over 80% of the consumers of natural health products in Canada are women. 90% of practitioners, so this is your homeopathic doctors and so on, 90% of practitioners are women. Well over 50% of the micro businesses are female-owned in this particular industry, and 84% of direct-to-customer sellers are women. So this is very, very important. It's a very important industry to the women in Canada. And we're going to lose these businesses, and it's too bad because we're already, like I said, we're already one of the safest and most well-regulated environments in the globe, around the globe when it comes to natural health products. And over 80% of Canadians, with the most recent information that we have, are users of natural health products. And of those 80%, when you ask them how satisfied they are with their natural health products, over 99% of those people say they're very confident that the natural health products that they acquire on the shelves in Canadian stores are safe, healthy, and work for them. And that's true. You'll find that across. I've been traveling across the country, Madam Speaker. I can tell you without any hesitation whatsoever that Canadians are very, very concerned about losing access to the only part of their healthcare system that they have care and control over, which is natural health products. So, and for those of you that are interested, Deloitte has done an audit on some of the findings that Health Canada has been using. They've claimed that over 700 people over a 2-year period were adversely affected by natural health products, but if you actually dig down into the data, this is Government of Canada data, they found that only 32 people over 3 years were actually affected. Unfortunately, there were 3 deaths, but if you take a look at the other factors associated with those deaths, all of those people were also taking prescription drugs at the same time. So there's a lot more misinformation that's out there right now that's attacking this industry unnecessarily, and we certainly don't we shouldn't be making a hasty decision in this place by backdooring in legislative changes like we did in Bill C-47. Now, I want to talk a little bit about consumer protection, because I think this is going to be the argument that the government's going to use. But you may also not know this, but if you actually buy products online from outside of the country, those aren't necessarily regulated the same. As a matter of fact, I can guarantee you they're not regulated the same as the Canadian marketplace is. They will not have that natural product number on them. And I'll just give you, so you can buy a 90-day supply. Right now, Health Canada allows you to buy a 90-day supply. You can ship it in with Amazon or any number of these direct-to-customer purchasing apps or opportunities that are out there, and they'll all be unregulated by Health Canada. They won't have a natural product number on them, very likely. And I'll just give you an example. They're marketed to Canadians on social media, on Facebook, other types of marketing methods. And Canadians are buying these things. I'll give you an example. It's called UMary. It's made in Mexico. It's marketed as a natural health product. It's marketed to seniors, and seniors are buying this product up. But it actually contains diclofenac, which is actually a prescription drug. And this is the problem, not our industry that's within the borders of Canada. So Health Canada, in its attempt, is actually going to do the opposite of what their intended results will be, which is they're going to drive the businesses through regulatory burden, costs, and overhead. Their businesses are going to say, look, I can go operate in Mexico or the United States far cheaper than I can operate in Canada. So they're going to be down there in the same environment selling direct to customer over the border with 90-day supplies. Health Canada is going to lose care and control over that and the quality assurance that Canadians have come to depend on. And it's not good for consumers at all. And I should let people know that are watching, Health Canada already has incredible powers. You're going to hear some members of Parliament, I think, stand up in this place in the debate of this bill and say, well, there's no mandatory recall that Health Canada has when it comes to natural health products. Well, here's some of the powers that you might not know that Health Canada already has. They already have the ability to issue a stop sale, and they do it from time to time. A stop sale order goes out, and that means immediately all the products on all the shelves in all the stores in Canada have to be stopped being sold. They do have the power, if they chose to implement it, for personal use import at the border. If they wanted to take a look at what's coming across the border, that would be a great place for Health Canada to start looking for opportunities to keep Canadians safer. They have the ability to seize. They have seizure provisions already in the legislation and regulations, which means that they can go and seize any product from any of the points along the line, from manufacturing through packaging, through distributing, and at the retail stores. They already have seizure capabilities in law and in regulation. They can revoke the site license for any manufacturer, any packager, any labeler, any importer. They already have that power to revoke that site license. They have the ability to mandate a label change. So if there is a health concern brought up from the Canadian public, they can actually go and investigate, and then they can tell the manufacturer or the labeler that they need to change the label to reflect some health concern or some other information. They can do that. They can inspect any site that has a site license. They can go automatically into a manufacturer. They can go into a producer anywhere where they have a site license is required. They can go in and conduct an audit anytime they want. They can inspect any product off the shelf. They can take it, send it to the lab, and do a verification check. Yep. They approve every natural product number that's out there that's being sold on the shelf right now. Nothing is sold without their pre-authorized consent, and they can revoke a natural product number anytime they want. That's already an immense amount of power. They don't need any more. So when you hear about the mandatory recall, that's simply a red herring, Madam Speaker. Health Canada already has an immense amount of power. Now, one of the other things, when you're defined as a therapeutic drug, that also subjects you to $5 million a day fines. There is nobody in the natural product industry that can afford a $5 million a day administrative penalty fine. Health Canada would actually unilaterally, without an ombudsman, without any ability to appeal, would have the ability to basically shut this industry down at their earliest whim or convenience. And it's already causing a chill in the industry. It's driving businesses away from Canada. And we need to stop this. So for the Canadians that are out there, call your Liberal MP, call your NDP MP, call your Green Party MP. Tell them to change how they voted on C-47. Get them to vote in favour of Bill 368. Let's get this bill to committee. Let's have an actual proper consultation with the industry. And if there is something that needs to be changed, we can at least have an honest conversation, and Canadians can be involved in a transparent way. Passing this bill through the back door, tucking it into a Budget Implementation Act is shoddy lawmaking, it's shoddy policy making, and it flies in the face of everything that we've done to this point. I encourage my colleagues, Madam Speaker, to vote in favour of Bill C-368. Thank you.